Hey guys, good morning. How y'all doing today? My name is Jared. Thank y'all for coming on another adventure here at Turkey Ridge. Hope you guys are having a good day. Look what's going on behind me. This is the neighbor's property right here that's behind me, and there are no more trees. And the other thing is there's no more equipment. That means that they have moved on from the neighbor's property and they are now cutting 80 acres of our property. So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all that in a little bit. But I wanted to show y'all the neighbor's property right here. This is 40 acre square right here. There is a little like low spot of a creek that water runs, and so they did leave some trees up where that low spot is, where the creek runs, to prevent erosion and amongst other things too. So that's why you do see a couple of trees left. But if you look all the way back there, that tree line, that's the 40 acres. And if you come, let's see, can we see it from here? Can't quite see the other line from here, but I'm gonna walk down the road a little bit. Oh, that's a little far to walk. I got a buggy. We can ride the buggy. While I'm walking back to the buggy, you can see that the loggers did leave a couple of logs cut. I'm assuming that they're gonna come back and pick those up and haul them off to the mills, but I don't know. It's not our property. Hope they don't leave any like that on our property. All right guys, and I'm back right here. This is the trees that they left for the creek. We crossed the creek right here. There's a culvert in the ground, and the creek just runs through their property. You can see it goes uphill a little bit this way, and then it goes uphill that way. And you can see the tree line way back there where the 40 acre stops. And then if we come on this side of the creek where the culvert is, there might even be water running in the creek this time, because we was so dry for so long, we didn't hardly have any water running through it. Oh well, doesn't look like there's any water running through it right now. Here we are on the back side right here of the neighbor's property, and you can see where my grandpa's property is, where all the smaller, younger pine trees, where they cut about seven years ago, I think, something like that. But they did a really good job of coming through and harvesting all the trees off this place. They did leave a couple, but they're really not going to do anything with that. They're not going to waste their time cutting those little bitty skinny trees and stuff. That's if you would want those out, the landowner or manager or whatever would have to go in and cut those or kill them or do something with them. But they did a pretty good job. They did a pretty good job. And then this is the property line right here that I'm standing on right here. And my grandpa's property is here on the left where all the trees still are. And on the right over here on this side is no more trees. And hopefully soon, this is what 80 acres of our property is going to look like too. Let's go see where they move the equipment. Hey guys, I'm back at a little field here. You can see the equipment that the loggers are starting to do right there. I'm on the way there, but I wanted to stop and show y'all this real quick. You see the rows right here? This is the one little spot that we've seen so far that is growing pretty decent. And this is what I hope the rest of everything looks like in about 2 to 3 weeks. So I think this one little spot kind of stayed wet with the dew in the morning, and was able to grow and take off and grow faster. And as you can see, all of this stuff that you see that's green, all in rows, is what we planted. So I'm really excited about this little spot right here. There are a couple other little spots. If you look, you can see that it's starting to grow, but this is kind of the biggest and the easiest. It's right here on the road that I could show y'all. But if you go around all the other fields, you can see that they are sprouting. We got rain 3 days ago. 3, maybe 4 days ago. So I know that this growth did not happen in 3 or 4 days. It was wet right here in the ground when I planted, and the dew from the morning, shade, whatever, allowed this to grow. So this is what I hope all of the fields look like in about 2 to 3 weeks, because it was 2 weeks when I planted. And then if you look along each side of the road right here, we planted a whole lot of ryegrass on the side of the road. They got a little bit more too. We were hoping to prevent erosion on this section of the road right here. So we just planted some ryegrass to kind of hold it together, because they built up the road right here a lot. You see it kind of drops down a bit. And then the gutter, or the culvert, should I say, is right there. And we planted grass around that culvert too, ryegrass, to prevent erosion too. Let's go check out the logging crew. I feel like somebody lost something. I think I found the problem. Yeah, I'd say they're missing a tire, and that doesn't look too healthy for the tire, not at all. Just a disclaimer too, for the beginning of this video, I don't know what any of this equipment does, technically, horsepower, purpose, anything like that, but I have an idea of what I'm talking about, slightly. Hey guys, welcome back. Now that the logging crew is actually on our property, I feel a little bit more comfortable walking around and showing off the equipment a little bit. First, what we're gonna say is, if you see these orange flags right here, you might be able to see that one over there, and if you look a little bit further down, you'll see that's the crew came in and they marked the property lines. So that orange flag is the closest to the property line, even though this really isn't a property line. It is a property line, but it's really not a property line. My grandpa owns both sides here. He owns this section of trees, and he also owns this section of trees too. But what they did was they marked out the 80 acres. It's actually a rectangle. I say square, but it's actually a rectangle. They went around and marked with the flags to make sure that they're not cutting any more of the 80 acres or they're not cutting less than the 80 acres. So they marked that first. Should we talk about this one first? Let's talk about this machine first. So as y'all can tell, they took a couple loads out of here already. They started cutting a couple of sections way back there too. So this machine right here is the cutter. This is what wraps around the tree, and you see this big saw blade right here on the bottom of it. It'll wrap around the tree, clamp the tree, cut it, and then the tree will sit on that plate. I don't know if you can see with that plate, but the blade itself is only exposed about 4 inches or so around the bottom. And then the cut tree will sit on that plate, and then as you can see, it tilts forward and it lays the tree down. So that's what the cutter does, and it just goes through and it cuts trees, lays them down, goes to the next one, cuts a tree, lays it down, goes to the next one. After the cutter cuts all the trees down, then this machine comes into play. This, I don't know what the technical name for it or what they call it, but it's just got like a big grapple on the end of it. And what this machine will do, it'll go around and it'll collect bunches of trees. Maybe if the tree's big, it might only collect 1 or 2. Sometimes if they're small, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know how many it can grab at one time, but it's got these big jaws, and it can obviously swivel around everywhere, and it'll pick up the trees and it'll haul them all the way to where what I'm going to call is the deck. This is going to be the logging deck right here is what I'm going to call it. And then both of these machines too, the cutter and this grapple thing, has this scoop on it too, or the shovel, to clear out, because there's a lot of debris and stuff. There's a lot of trees, smaller trees, junk trees, stuff like that are in the way. So it helps them maneuver and get around the property a little bit easier. Pushes things out the way. Look how massive these tires are. I mean, they're huge. They're huge. Oh my goodness. Now this 80 acre section that's being cut right now is different than this 80 acre section that we got right here. Like I said, both of these are for my grandpa, but this 80 acre section of pine trees is actually planted in rows. So this is a pine plantation, whereas this 80 acre section was not planted in rows. This 80 acres was, I guess, naturally grown. I don't really like that term, because natural is thick. They just let anything and everything grow. So I don't really know how natural it was, but this was not planted in rows. This was kind of as close to natural, quote unquote, natural as it can get. And then this is what I would call the deck. This is what I would call the logging deck. With the grapple brings all the trees probably to, no, not right here, because this right here where I'm standing is where like the 18-wheelers and stuff would pull back up and park, and then this thing with the grapple would load the logs onto the 18-wheelers. So I'm assuming that the grapple brings the trees somewhere over here, maybe in the back section right here, and then, or maybe even up front. I'm not sure exactly how it operates because I was never here when they do operate. But they bring them, and this log right here is their reference log. It's got a couple red lines on it, if you could see, so they know how long each log is. And then this is a big chainsaw inside of here. So I'm going to say, just about looking at it, that yeah, they bring the logs right about here. The grapple grabs it and puts it right here. They measure the log to the length they want and then cut it. And then they got 3 separate piles that they put the logs in. They got a small pile over there, a medium pile right here, and then a larger pile over here. And then this thing right here, the logs go through this machine and it strips all of the branches and stuff off. So on this side of the logging deck is going to have a lot of debris because there's going to be a lot of residue from branches and stuff. So guys, that's how the operation goes. I kind of just explained it how I think it works. I'm no expert and I've never been here while they work. Hopefully, maybe I will be able to come up during the week, because we come up to the camp a lot during the weekends. So maybe one day during the week, I'll be able to come up and kind of see these guys in action and how they operate and stuff. But I don't know. We're just going to have to stay tuned and find out if I could do that. And you don't know how bad I really want to drive some of this equipment. There's even a bulldozer right around the corner that I didn't show y'all too, that, man, I could do some damage in, but I think it's going to be frowned upon. Oh, and I went hunting for the first time this weekend. This is what I saw. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Now, even though we are on the 3rd weekend of hunting season already, this is the 1st weekend that I went hunting. We had a couple other people went hunting already too in previous weekends and previous trips that we've been up to the camp. And they've seen a few deer here and there, but nobody has shot anything yet so far for this season. We don't normally start killing anything until when rifle season starts around Thanksgiving. But the 3 deer that I seen last night were fantastic. Phenomenal hunt. In fact, actually that 8-point that I saw, I think, was the biggest deer that anybody has seen on the property yet so far. I know some people that watched the video might think, why you didn't shoot that 8-point. I thought that 8-point was 2, maybe even 3 years old. Dead deer don't grow. I know that there are bigger, more mature deer on the property that can be harvested this year. So that'll about wrap it up for this video, guys. This is really interesting. We're gonna monitor this progress as it goes. I say they did about 5 acres or so right now, but I'm really excited to see the transformation of this property and what it's gonna look like in the future. My name is Jared. Thanks for coming on another adventure at Turkey Ridge, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.